All right, welcome back. I had Andy round the other day.
Hiya.
Trying to get the hub out. We struggled at that one for hours. Andy, being the legend that he is with an angle grinder, sat there for a good few hours, literally chopped the hub to pieces, and then we managed to chisel the drive shaft out of the hub. As soon as we got the drive shaft out, funnily enough, the hub come off fairly easy with a slide hammer, which was mild frustration, but that was all in the previous video. On this one, we're putting the new bearing in so that we can fit the new backplate for the brakes, and then put the new drive shaft in when that arrives, refit brakes, and get the car back on the road again. So let's get into putting the bearing in. So first thing we're going to do, we've got our tools ready. We've got a new bearing. So we'll start, we've got the tool there, set so that the bearing will slide straight into it. Put the tool in from the back of the hub, get that nice and central. We've got the new bearing there. I've already put some grease inside the hub just to help it slide in a little bit easier.
Some super lube.
And there's a recess that this will just slide in, make sure it's nice and square. Last thing you want to do is try and push the bearing in at an angle and damage everything. Now this section of the tool, that is smaller than the inner race itself, so it's not going to touch the inner race at all. It's just mounting to the outer race. Stick a larger bolt on there. Get that nice finger tight. And we'll get everything lined up. Okay. So the tool's now just touching the outside, the outer ring of the bearing, and that's ready to be pressed in. So I'm going to grab the big spanner.
I'm going to hold this.
And he's got a ratchet in the back, and we'll drive this bearing in. I'll grab the camera, just kind of offer it up here so you can get a better action.
I am on.
And we will start to pull this bearing in. And as you can see, the bearing's sliding itself in nicely. You just got to press that all the way in. Not easy to do with one hand, so I'll just try and get the camera with a different angle there. As you can see, the bearing's sliding itself in.
Do not go in dry.
Always use a lot of lube. I'm going to set the camera down now, as this is actually quite difficult to get to and do with one hand. I'll just pull that in. It doesn't take a lot of effort to actually drive the bearing in, but it's always handy to have your mate about and a load of leverage.
How's your side looking? My side looks alright.
We are almost there, mate.
Lovely.
Pulling in quite nicely. There we go. She's going in. Just another couple of mil, and I think that'll be there. I can feel the tool now, it's really tight.
I felt this side move.
So I think that's pushed in far enough. We'll just release the tool and we'll just double check. Yeah, I can now see the gap where the split pin's got to go in. Looks like the bearing's pressed in nicely. So we can take that tool out the back.
Sweet. Hang on then. Let me get rid of this ratchet. Slide this out. Hand you that.
Just want to just have a look with the torch at the back there and just see if you can see.
Grease squeezed out.
Yeah, is there?
Yeah, I see it. It's nicely seated.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, as long as we're up against the back end,
yeah,
you can't see any gap, then
no gap.
We are good. And the next thing we've got to do is put the split pin on. So again, I'm going to put a little bit of grease in there. I don't know whether you should, but I'm going to do it anyway because getting these split pins out was a nightmare in itself. So I'm wondering whether or not I'll just help it a little bit. And then got my split pin pliers. And you just got to put that in its little recess. Together.
Do you need me to do anything at this moment?
I might need a bit of help.
How about I hold my thumb there?
But I think we just kind of squeeze that, push it.
Oh, look at that.
And
that's
just
beautiful.
Straight in.
That's magnificent.
In theory, I'll get a screwdriver and a hammer in the same way that we loosened it before, just give it a bit of a tap.
Oh, so it sits in there. Ah, look at that.
See, that sits in there nicely. And the split pin wiggles around if we try to move it. And that is the new bearing installed.
Wow. That was a damn sight easier than getting it out.
Just job complete. Moving on. Backplate. Grab that backplate and the bolts, mate. Backplate. New backplate there, which quite simply is just going to go exactly the same place that the last one came from. Caliper in the way, that's held up there.
If I can twist that round like that, hook that, get back in there. You're going to hook that over that. Is that out of the way?
Quite enough. Right, just push that into position. Wallop.
That was a nice click.
Good job. And then we just need the new bolts for that. They're up here. They are indeed, mate.
I'll pass you the whole tray.
16mm, and can you grab us a 10mm out of this socket drawer as well, please, mate? Yeah. So we've got.
You're on a socket.
The 2/16s. No, just the ratchet spanner will be perfect. The 2/16mm bolts here. And there. Put them in with my fingers.
I don't know your way around this.
Small drawer, lower box.
Oh yeah, there we go.
And then I've got some brand new 10mm here, which luckily I just had a bag full of 10mm bolts. And they were perfect size for this. So I'll change them out, put brand new ones in. Just make it all look nice and brand new. Just do those up. Yeah. Doesn't have to be excessively tight, it's only to hold the back plate on. That's on. That's on. And then the 16mm at the bottom. This is the ring spanner.
should have given you a ratchet one.
It's fine, I like the spanners on these, to be honest. These bolts, I really didn't want to chew them up. Just want to keep them nice. Again, not going excessively tight with that, just so I know it's not going to rattle out.
Looks very nice and shiny.
It's much better than it did. And
you're inspiring me to do mine.
And the retaining clips are actually going to hold in.
That would be a plus.
And there we go. One brand spanking new backplate. So next, we've got to put the hub in. So again with that, we've got to drive that in with the press. So I'm going to slide some grease into that as well, just to be sure. Goes in nice and easy.
More super lube.
More super lube. Glamorous assistant has just grabbed the hub for me. There you go. So we've got the hub. We have to press that in as well. It's not just going to slide in. You shouldn't just bang it in with a hammer. So what we're going to do with that one, we'll grab the tool, press tool again. But what we want to make sure with this one is, because we're putting resistance up against the inner race, putting that in. So we don't want to use the bigger tool that we were using before, because we'd only be holding on to the outer race and we'd literally just drive the inside of the inner race out. So we're going to swap that out and we're going to put in the smaller tool, which fits just up against the inner race. So we'll slide that one in from the back, same way we did the last one. And there's the light again. So that's in, up against the inner race. We've got the hub. Hold that up against there. And then all we want here now is a nice big plate that matches up with the hub. Like so. Get the big bolt on again. Again, make sure it's nice and square. And make sure that we're pressing that in straight. Looks to me like it's going to be fine there. And once again, Andy will go behind now. There we go. And I'll drive the hub on from the front. When you ready, Andy, yeah?
Hold on. Yeah, go on in. Oh, hang on. That might help. That bar?
Are you still moving? No? Okay.
No, I'm pretty solid.
Tightening the bolts up like we are. See that the hub is pressing itself onto the bearing nicely. That's all going in nice and straight. Just keep doing this until that hub is completely pressed in. You could of course do this with the drive shaft as well.
Oh, that was a bit tight.
Yep. And we're there. That's as far as I'm going to go with that. I'll release the tool. If there's anything else left in there for that to be tightened up, that'll happen as we're tightening up the hub nut. So if you just want to hold on to it there with the
let me just swap
reverse, yeah.
Go on it.
There we go. Release the tool. Big bolt off, flange off. Hold through. And there you have it. Ta-da! One newly installed hub, bearing, backplate, all ready for the drive shaft and the new brakes.
Job done.